David Eichel and Elliot Clough here for HawkeyeInsider.com, part 24/7 Sports Network. For an Iowa win, that was a shootout. Definitely don't think that this was in the cards for the Hawkeyes tonight. I know, Elliot, you thought it was going to be a higher scoring game, and I'll let you apologize to Athen Kaliakmanis in a little bit.
I would like to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Yeah, okay. But man, what a game for Iowa. I think there's a lot to digest here and a lot to talk about. The no boys turned into, I would say, the partially doughboys. They finally got that turnover. I thought that was a great play by Max Llewellyn. That defensive line really show up in the second half. But Elliot, it has to start with Mark Gronowski. It just has to. Every single game, this is a guy that has looked more comfortable, more confident, and he showed up in the big game moments when they needed him. Iowa got punched in the mouth time and time again, and he continued to lead Iowa down the field for points, for production. Obviously, Jazz Patterson got nicked up, did not play in the second half, but Kamari Moulton looked like himself. But I guess we just have to start with Gronowski. Made a couple of major throws, took care of the football. That was the tough competitor that Iowa knew that they were going to get. And you got to tip your cap off to it, man. Like, I just don't remember the last time. I mean, I would say C.J. Beathard probably, but facing a 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, like, it's a guy that goes out there and gets you 11. He finishes the runs with physicality, doesn't shy away from contact, but he's so smart about how he uses his physicality. Like, he protects himself while running over defenders. And again, I'll go back to what I said the first game of the season, man. This is not a guy that's worried about his shoulder. And the big thing for me, Elliot, then I'll let you get to it. He missed that throw to Zach Wortworth, and he has to hit that next time, no doubt. But what did he do on the next drive? Let him downfield for a score. Iowa gets that turnover. He leads them down the field for a second score. So it's not so much about the mistakes or the missed plays. It's he responded with confidence and made the plays when it mattered most.
This is South Dakota State Mark Gronowski. This is the Mark Gronowski you paid millions of dollars for. This is the Mark Gronowski that everybody expected, everybody wanted coming out of the portal. Yes, he missed the throw. Yes, he didn't even have a touchdown pass tonight. But 12 of 18 for 186 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns on the ground.
10 yards a pass attempt, Elliot.
Yeah. This is well, it's a lot more than that, wasn't it?
Well, per attempt, not per completion, but per attempt. It was,
okay.
Yeah.
So this is what takes Iowa from being middle of the pack, maybe even towards the lower part of the middle of the pack, to being competitive in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
These are the type of games, especially if Gronowski makes that throw when it was there for him, where you think, okay, Iowa, there's a glimmer of hope when you go against the Oregons, the Penn State, the Indiana next week. Because, yes, the defense sucked to start this game. It was not good. 21 points in a first half. I would love to know the last time, let alone in back-to-back-to-back drives. I would love to know the last time that happened. And Iowa won the game, let alone.
Yeah, that's a really – I want to know last time Iowa quarterback had 3 scores, too, on the ground.
Yeah, right, no kidding. And again, and you hit it, Dave, he is almost an extension of Kirk Ferentz on the field and his ability to just stay measured and stay composed, because you can't put the average college football quarterback in that situation, especially if they miss that throw, and think they're going to lead us to win this game. But you can now with Mark Gronowski. Yeah, I said it in 4 downs, is that Iowa didn't have this guy. They didn't have their quarterback. They didn't have their quarterback that would take them beyond what the last half decade's been. They didn't have that for the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Now they do. And this is what takes Iowa to that next echelon of being competitive within the Big Ten. And you go into each and every game thinking they've got a shot to win. You know, they're not going to be overwhelming favorites. They're probably not going to be favorites at all in this Oregon, Penn State, maybe even the Indiana game, depends on how much Vegas favors Kinnick. But this is exactly what we said a few weeks ago, too. Is this all that Mark, like that passing, what Mark did today is all you need him to do. Hitting one deep shot, which shout out Dayton Howard.
They finally did it.
We've been talking about this guy from week 1. Where has this guy been all season?
Before, going into that fall scrimmage, he had 3 straight catches on that one drive. And we're like, oh my God. Then once Reese Vanderzee went out, you, me, and Sean were like, you have a 6'5" guy that is fast and you need size. You know what? Shout out to Rutgers passing game. They gave the ball to 6'6" Strong, and he had his way with Iowa's DBs for a portion of the game. I'm not saying Dayton Howard is him, but you see how that size and that physicality just play a factor in those situations. And I didn't even think it was that bad defense by any means by Rutgers on that deep pass to Howard. He just made an outstanding play.
He did. I remember the Rutgers DB got up and said, incomplete. And my fiance and I are sitting on the couch. We're like, did he catch it? And you see it on the instant replay, and he had it. That was the play of Dayton Howard's career, first of all. And that throw by Gronowski, a beauty. You don't need him to throw for 400 yards for you to win. No. You need him to do that, and that's why I was so confident when Iowa went out and got him out of South Dakota State. And now, again, this conversation has to start and probably end with Mark Gronowski. But also, what else we learned tonight is Iowa still has a bevy of talented running backs, even though Jazz got hurt and even though Xavier Williams wasn't available.
Yep. And,
Kamari's running back 1. There's just no doubt in my mind about it now from what we've seen. And Nathan McNeil kind of looked a little tentative on that first carry and just his snaps in general to me. You're going to expect that from your first meaningful snaps from a freshman. But that dude is a natural, man.
He's got to play.
You burn the red shirt. You burn the red shirt.
I think there's a couple things. By the way, I know there's a question in the YouTube chat. Reese Vanderzee is out next week. KF basically alludes to that, but it sounds like he is on track to be back at Wisconsin. And that bye week might be perfect for him, Elliot, because we've talked about getting back into football shape, especially when you have a leg injury. It seems like his snap count will be a little bit higher than we initially thought if he gets a chance to kind of go through those practices. Another comment in the chat. Yeah, I thought it was a good called game by Tim for the most part. I did not like the drive, and they got backed up inside their own 5. By the way, Rutgers got away with an egregious hold on that 68-yard punt. It was not even debatable. But I will give credit to the officials. They did not call roughing the kicker on that when they threw the flag initially, but the flag should have been thrown for the holding. That quarterback draw I thought was really predictable, and I understood they just wanted to play it safe. But I thought it was a very risky call, Elliot, because the defense had not been holding strong at that point. And by the way, I would have paid pay-per-view money to listen to Phil Parker talk to his defense in that locker room at halftime, man. Oh, boy, that would have been something else, because you could tell he was fuming on the sidelines. And honestly, he should have, because I got to give credit to Rutgers, man. They continue to let that deep ball go time and time again. Another guy I really want to talk about, then we can go back to the offense for a little bit, Elliot. TJ Hall. We've been talking about all season. This was some of the better wide receivers he'll play this season, because, look, Rutgers might only be a 6-7 win team. The receivers are legit. And what TJ Hall had another 3 pass breakups, including one at the end. He's just a guy that's playing with so much confidence right now. But at the same time, they got to figure out that second corner, because at some point you're going to lose a rep or two when you're getting the ball thrown your way that much. But Deshaun Lee really, 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 really struggled tonight, I thought, Elliot. He was getting beat time and time again.
Yeah, I think part of that. Sorry, I'm trying to tweet out my post-game story.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what Twitter is right now, so.
Well, anyway, I think this from the get-go was going to be a tough game for Deshaun. We've talked about it since the Iowa State game and probably dating back to when he was first seeing time on the field, is the fact that he's just going to struggle against big receivers, big tight ends. And what does Rutgers have? 3 big receivers. And I thought that deep shot that he got beat on, it was a really damn good throw by Callie McManus.
Yeah, it was. He threw a couple dimes tonight, man.
He did. And it was a tough catch. And I thought Deshaun really played it just about as well as he could have. But he's physically limited. And like that's a sort of a trend now that you're seeing. And this is why when Shaheed Barrows was brought in from the portal, I said he has to be CB2 because physically he's a lot more like TJ Hall and a lot less like Deshaun Lee. But if he's not playing up to par, then you just got to go with Deshaun Lee. And, you know, somebody might say go to Jalen Watson. Well, Jalen Watson's a similar body type to Deshaun Lee. He's probably more athletic and he's less experienced. He's less experienced and he's small. So there's not really a real solution on this roster right now. When you're going to end up going against some of these elite teams, they're going to be picking on Deshaun Lee. And you know, there's only so much you can do about physical limitations like that, right? As the defense. But yeah, that's a point of concern. So yeah, I know Shaheed was hurt tonight. Thank you for making the point there in the chat too. I knew he was hurt, but he's been 3rd/4th string for a reason. So we'll see if that changes. But yeah, that's going to be a point of concern for the Iowa defense. While we're on the defense, we got to talk about Jackson Rexroth too. You mentioned the no boys turning into no boys. He's a linebacker, so I think that they're still the no boys.
I mean, they got Jay Higgins. I mean, Jay Higgins was an honorary Doughboy last year, right? I mean, yeah, he had 4 picks last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Honorary
that's a little different. That's first career for Rexroth. But you know, the other point that I made in regards to that in 4 downs is that there was some real poetic justice for these, you know, lesser known Hawkeyes tonight. Howard makes that phenomenal catch. Rexroth, a former walk-on who stuck around from Cedar Rapids Xavier, gets that tip ball by Max Llewellyn is an NFL guy. Like, we had a question on our board. Like, it's not like it was in doubt before, but that frame, the physicality with which he plays, like that play, it reminds me of the Nebraska. Like, he's just in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And for Rexroth to get that pick, man, that is sensational. That's Iowa football. That's, I mean, I said this on Twitter too, is like, that's a Kirk Ferentz win right there. Granted, 30-28 isn't exactly a Kirk Ferentz win, but the way they won it at the end of the game is a classic Kirk Ferentz victory. And again, Rexroth laying out to make the grab too.
I think there's 2 other things that we need to talk about, especially while I'm on the defensive kick. One, Zach Lutmer was absolutely critical tonight. I thought Lutmer played a fantastic football game. Had a couple big pass breakups. Was in there for a couple big tackles. Like, that's a guy that's play. You talk about a guy who's playing with confidence. It's Zach Lutmer right now. The other thing I think we have to bring up, Elliot, is actually 2 more things. One, Carson Shire cannot guard slot wide receivers. Like, there were a handful of plays, and I'm just like, look, you can't get mad at him because he shouldn't be defending them in the first. He just does not have the speed to keep up with slots. And I credit Callie McManus for continuing to find that mismatch a handful of times, right? But the other thing that has been a concern for the Iowa defense that we've talked about, Iowa needs more consistency out of Jayden Harrell at that spot, man. Like, he ended, I think, with 9. Let me pull up my stats here. I think he ended with 9 tackles. Second most on the team. Shire led the way with 10, but he only had 2 solos. Harrell only had a solo, which is not the end of the world because Iowa teaches kind of gang tackling, 11 helmets to the ball. Like, we kind of know all this, right? Harrell knows what's going on for every it feels like every single play, Elliot. But it's almost like he doubts himself and he's always a step behind. And if you're not a step ahead on Iowa's defense, you're going to get beat time and time again. Like, you could be on time and you're still late. I hate using that cliche phrase, but that's exactly how it runs in Phil Parker's defense. So I'm not saying he needs to get subbed out at this point. I'm not saying that because I just don't think there's enough experienced guys behind him. And you're not going to go make, let's say, this is not happening. I'm just throwing out name. You're not going to go tell Cam Buffington or Jade Montgomery, hey, you're going to go start against Indiana, whose passing offense has actually been lighting the world on fire, albeit against subpar competition at times. They still get it done. And Mendoza's played really well this season. So I think Jaden Harrell needs to have his best career week as far as being on the practice field and play recognition, because if he's behind against that Indiana team, Cignetti's not the type of guy to call off the dogs, and he will throw deep every single play. Every single play they will test Iowa's DBs. And again, Phil's going to, I think, tear him a new one this week in practice because he knows what's ahead. But if you're Kirk Cignetti, and again, I'm not saying Iowa's DBs did play well in the second half, right? So mostly reflecting on the first half. You don't think that Cignetti is looking at that first half film and licking his lips right now about how he's going to go force the ball downfield against Iowa? This is going to be a major, major, major test for Iowa's defense this upcoming week. Again, not to get too much into the preview of it, but there were just some glaring holes I felt like we kind of saw tonight.
Yes. When talking about Harrell, I think the difference, because the story is similar to him and Jay Higgins, right? The difference between those two, in my opinion, is confidence, because Jay approached it knowing he needed to be the guy and knowing he was the guy before he was the guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Jaden Harrell has that. And I might be reading into it a little bit too much, but he hasn't really appeared as confident to me as you'd like your Mike to be. Granted, we don't know much about Jaden Montgomery on that front, nor Cam Buffington. Sure. And when you're a younger guy, and Seth Wallace said something like this at Media Day, with a Preston Reese, with a Cam Buffington, it's easy to see the flash plays and say, man, I want more of that. But once things get a little more complicated, those guys start playing a lot slower. So, because the wheels aren't turning as quickly as you'd like them to. They haven't seen as much as a Harrell as maybe a Montgomery. So I don't know that there is necessarily a fix for the Iowa defense. I've heard some good things about Jaden Montgomery. Obviously, he's a legacy. So we'll see how that goes, and if he's a guy that can be plug and play and make that defense better. Or, Carson Shire, who we mentioned this week in our preview regarding the 4-2-5, a guy who's been playing the Mike in the 4-2-5. Do you roll with him as your Mike now? And then maybe go a little bit less athletic with Jackson Rexroth at your will. Where are you most comfortable, and do you feel like making a change would make things better? That's the biggest question at that Mike spot. I need to go back, and we're obviously going to have my Monday morning quarterback on Monday.
Yes.
And Harrell will be one that I watch a little bit more closely than I have the last few weeks. Did finish with 9 tackles, which is a little bit more encouraging. Carson Shire had 10. He had 9 at half and then only 1 in the second half. That's also a little bit because of time of possession.
I would credit the defensive line for that big reason, because they were getting a lot more pressure in the backfield, and they were obviously forcing the ball downfield, and they weren't having, again, that's when I think schematically they changed some things up where Shire wasn't forced as much into coverage either.
Yes. Ortworth was a lot better tonight, I thought. Needed to make that, that ball was short that Gronowski threw, but it did
still
hit his
could have
hand.
caught it.
He still could have caught it.
I'm not. That was a bad throw by Mark.
Yes,
but he could have caught the ball.
Has looked better. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is exactly with some of these guys who appear to be a little bit more confident now than maybe they were at the start of the season, like in Ortworth. Because not a whole lot has changed for Ortworth going into the season. Lachey was hurt quite a bit, and he played early. But I do think he was largely better tonight. Can't have those 2 drops on the first drive. Sam Phillips, that ball was right in his breadbasket.
That's his first drop in a year and a half of football. And by the way, that was one of the better passes of Mark's career as a Hawkeye.
Gorgeous.
That was right in the breadbasket. Oh, like that has to be caught. That was a perfectly thrown ball. And again, not to pat myself on the back, Elliot, but remember after the first week, everybody's talking about Mark and the pass. Again, they still have to go out there and prove it, right? I get that. I'm not taking a victory lap, but I'm taking it from this standpoint. That's why I said it's a 2.5. I'm the panic meter on Mark. That's why. He threw the ball over 10,000 yards at South Dakota State. It's not like he forgot. Again, look at that. Again, the throw Dayton Howard. I want to see Dayton Howard play more. I think he needs to play against Indiana. That seems like a guy, and I'll tell you. The other thing about Mark, Elliott, I don't know if I mentioned this early. I thought he was so much better going through his progressions tonight. I thought he was much better.
I think he was calm, but not slow.
Yeah,
he was calm against UMass, but slow. Tonight, he was calm and fast. And that's what you need out of a savvy sixth-year quarterback who's coming in at this level. And, the speed adjustment is very real. And I think he would tell you that himself. I am really intrigued to hear what Mark has to say this week, too, when we have media availability on Tuesday. Because now he's done it against a good team. And this is a situation too, to reference Jay Higgins one more time. If Jay had Mark and this happened, say last year, Jay would have been like, you guys were so worried. Yeah. We were telling you,
Nick Jackson would have done the same thing too.
Right. And I don't know who that would be this year, but Mark has earned that. That's my point. Is Mark has now he had that benefit of the doubt from folks like us who look at that history and other people, sensible people who look at that history of Gronowski playing football and not just write him off because of what he did in 2 games versus these last 2 games. And again, this is an early game. This is Rutgers, and we had heard some negative things about their defense. He has to do it against presumably a top 25 team in the country. Oh shoot. Never mind.
I'll say this though, really quick, Elliot. He did it in a game that Iowa could not lose. This was one of the more important 4th games of the year that Iowa has had in memory. Because if you go 2-2 through this 4 games, and the 2 teams you beat are Albany and UMass, and you go back home to Kinnick Stadium hosting a ranked Indiana team, and then you go into the bye week at 2-3 with this team, the panic meter is off the charts. And honestly, man, it would have been justifiable in my book, especially with where the expectations were.
This would have been a very different podcast that we'd be talking right now. This would have been, let's move on. I mean, not really, but in a way, let's move on to basketball. Because if Iowa wanted any hope of the playoff, they would have had to win out.
Yeah, and of course, you and I don't think. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have to win out at this point. I mean, if they go to, if they're 2-2, and even, I guess even then, because they have wins against Oregon. Yeah, okay, and at USC. Anyway, the other thing is Bailey Turner just sent out the game notes. Elliot, would you like to take a guess about when the last time an Iowa quarterback had 3 rushing touchdowns? By the way, career high 3 rushing touchdowns for Mark. He never run 3 touchdowns in a game.
Jeez, I don't know.
This stat did surprise me.
The early 1900s.
Sorry. I think that might be a little bit far.
Okay, I don't know.
Kirk Ferentz's first year when Matt Rogers ran for 3 touchdowns against Cincinnati on September 15th, 1999.
Okay. I saw some other thing that was that
was the next one.
The 1968 one.
Yep. So Mark Gronowski is the first Hawkeye quarterback to have a rushing touchdown in 4 straight games since Larry Lawrence had a 4-game streak to end the 1968 season. So yeah, I mean, again, impressive for Mark Gronowski tonight. I thought the O-line was pretty good for the most part. I know Mark took a sack in that 4th quarter. I don't really blame him on that. He dodged 3 defenders. There was nothing he could have done. I don't even think he could have gotten rid of the football, Elliot. And that's something I want you to watch when you do Monday morning quarterback too, is that sack he took in like the middle of that 4th, maybe early in the 4th. He dodged 2 guys out of the backfield, dodged a 3rd, and then they kind of came backwards and got him, and 2 other guys were in his face. I think if he tries to throw that football away, it would have resulted in exactly what happened to Athan Kalik Manis on that interception as well.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting to watch. But again, Zach Lutmer, I thought had a big game. TJ Hall had a big game. Like, I think you can be encouraged. Again, it's a bad Rutgers defense, but the fact that Iowa went on the road in by the way, a record crowd in that stadium for this game tonight, blackout crowd, and then Mark Gronowski went out there and did that. It'll be really, really interesting just to kind of see how the defense is going to respond. And the other thing we need to talk about, Elliot, and I still don't have an accurate grasp on how they performed because I'm so mind-boggled by it. I don't know what to think about this Iowa special teams at this point.
I was going to bring that up too.
I have no idea what to think. Like, credit Caden Weegan for housing that 100-yard kickoff return to open the game. What a way to kind of suck the energy out of well, at least for 2.5 minutes before they, drove the ball down through the, Athan went, I think, 5 of 6 for 70 yards and a score on that drive. But I guess before we get into the missed field goal and by the way, Ethan Hurkett, man, like, talk about another senior moment for him. He's been so good for Iowa throughout his career. And the battle back from his injured knee that he suffered early in his career, he's like a Kirk Ferentz prototype, right? A guy that, is probably a little bit under-recruited coming out of high school. About a mid-3 star by 24/7. Didn't have a ton of offers. Committed to Iowa. Plays early, gets hurt. Battles back. Team captain. Media day representative. Gets a sack out of the backfield. Blocks that field goal. Again, just kind of a prototypical KF. But this special teams, man, I have no idea what to think. It might be the most electric and the most depressing part about this Iowa team. They talk about Forrest Gump, like life is a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. The Iowa special teams this year, usually you know exactly what you're getting. They have every individual chocolate labeled. They had nothing labeled in this one. It's like they threw all of them together in a box from a bunch of different factories and said, here.
Shook them up.
Or it's like the Halloween, like mini candy bags, except they just have all the same wrapper, and you just have to guess what one you're giving kids.
I need heavens to gift that.
Yeah.
Also, did you see Sean's gif of the roller coaster?
No, Elliot, I don't have Twitter.
Oh, that's true. Okay, sorry.
Thanks, man.
He did salt in the wound.
Yeah.
He did the SpongeBob.
Like when they're the mini roller coaster? Oh.
Yeah. Like, Sean, that's the worst illustration of roll. It's like this, dude.
Yeah.
So the 100-yard kick return by Caden Weegan, he does it again. Jet Award winner. He has to win it again this year. Unless somebody has like a superhuman performance, like he's inevitably going to return 1 or 2 more, if not more than that at this rate. Like he is GOAT conversation.
Notice I'll tell you what, I'm in a couple group chats and I had a buddy text me and tell me that Weegan's the best returner, even better than Cooper as far as returning.
Yeah.
Everybody yelled at him.
Cooper only played 3 years.
That's the other part I hate the what if game.
Right.
But that's a legitimate conversation. And by the way, I don't care what anybody says. I'm counting that Minnesota touchdown that got called back. When you think about Cooper DeJean's electricity, I'm doing that. Yeah, Tim Dwight has to be in that conversation as well.
Right.
But I will, again, statistically, and you see some of the plays that they both made, like
I had to put that up.
I love it. Shout out for that. Tim Dwight has to be in the conversation. Caden Weegan has 100% a case, though. He has to have a case.
Yeah. Now, the rest of special teams.
Yes, Desmond King in there, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Desmond King was like – he had a high floor. Had a couple electric returns, but like Cooper and Weegan are like –
Coop is like
top off special teams.
Coop is timely. Like his plays on returns, the one against Michigan State, the one against Minnesota, like it's when you need a play most. That's like Coop is in that tier. That's like, okay, you got to have something happen, get the ball in his hands, and something's going to happen. So and I mean, hometown, like not quite hometown, home school district.
I'm
going to be a little biased
there too.
Yeah, that too.
I think Emir's slightly below them, but then now you're really thinking about this. Like Iowa's had some insane special, like insane.
Don't forget Andy Brodell. Like he's not in the GOAT conversation, but he was good too.
Cret Woods, absolutely.
Now, where we have to talk about LeVar Woods tonight is he has to figure out the field goal situation. He has to do. I don't know exactly what's going on here, other than what Tyler Kluver shared with us this week, right? Like the issue of where the ball's being kicked. What Drew said, Drew shared that this week too. The issue of where the ball is being kicked on when Drew kicks it, but also the issue of snaps. Is this a Bryant Worrell problem? Is this like what's the depth of this problem, and how can it be fixed?
I'm interested to see what Kluver says about it and the staff, but I will say, man, based on my amateur eye and watching a ton of football throughout my life, I thought the missed field goal, I actually thought it was a good snap and a good hold. Like the ball was down, there wasn't any slippage. He wasn't hitting laces. I think Drew just missed that. But again, I'll have to double check that. I'm going to throw this up there too. I was trying to set up a live stream, and I was trying to connect to my Twitter account, and I hadn't put in my password for over a year and a half, and I forgot it. So I went to request a new one, and it had my old phone number and my old email attached to it. So now I'm going through Twitter support to try to get it. And it got so bad, Elliot. I don't know if I text you guys this. I actually texted the person who took over my old number, and I'm like, hey, this is going to sound crazy, but
right. When you called me before the game and told me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I get back by the end of the weekend. If not, I'll get it back.
Now here's a conversation we need to have before we wrap up here, Dave. I was just gonna put that up. I'm going to keep going to Iowa football games, guys. I'm going to, like, the home games at the very least. I will be in attendance, except for November 8th when Iowa plays Oregon. So if they upset Oregon, I'm taking full and complete credit for that victory.
That's what I do whenever I'm out of state and people commit.
But if they lose, then the curse is broken of my attendance. So, and a lot of other really good things have happened with me in the building. This might just be a 24/7 sports thing. I don't know. But I shouldn't have said it. Like, I brought this on myself. It's like you being out of state.
Trust me, do you know how much stuff I brought on myself, and I'm like, this is never going to die. Well, except, hey, Kayvon Merriweather started the height thing. That was not my fault. I'm still upset about that. Anyway, is there anything else we need to hit on? Anything else you guys want to hear right now? I agree. This is a major thing. Iowa's secondary has to get better. I think outside. I mean, TJ Hall has to get better. TJ Hall needs to play like TJ Hall's been playing, and you have a reliable corner. Like TJ Hall is playing at an all Big Ten caliber level. I think in 4 games, Elliot, he has like 9 pass breakups.
Yes, it's something stupid.
Like he's been ridiculously good.
It's the same thing as the issue of, him reaching this next echelon. What did I say? He needs an interception to take it to that next level too.
Yeah.
And I think that happens sooner rather than later. It would really help his case going forward to get a pick or two in terms of being an all-conference guy, rising up the draft boards, because he's getting drafted. Like the way he's played plus his physical makeup, like he's getting drafted. I like him a lot. I do think, despite the position change and all the talk of Xavier Wampa being in more favorable spots, I think that he had some misses tonight in coverage. I think he may have misread his keys, and Iowa got beat deep on, and he just didn't have any help. He didn't provide any help rather when Iowa needed it on the back end. That's another point we got to make. I didn't think TJ Washington hasn't really improved in the snaps, even in limited snaps now. And Nathan McNeil was awesome in his
very limited for Nathan McNeil, but
he was awesome when he got on the
McNeil's
field.
Actually shown you and I something this year.
Yes. Yes.
Washington had an okay opening game. He was a couple. I think the thing with Washington right now is he's not confident in where he's going, and he's always looking for the home run ball every single time. But like one carry, no yards, and then that kickoff return, man. Like I'm not going to go so far as to say he's unplayable right now. But I'll tell you, man, he needs to be the last back right now in this rotation of guys that are normally playing. Like McNeil should be taking his snaps at this point.
I agree. It's the same. I have a feeling that if anyone were to ask, maybe not specifically about Washington's poor play thus far, but if anybody was to ask something alluding to that on Tuesday, what we're going to get from Kirk is that he's been practicing well. I think we might need to have some conversations with people behind the scenes and see what their thoughts are regarding this whole situation. I know I've heard a lot of good things about McNeil from the get-go, and for him to have put it into practice, at least against Albany and against UMass, and now in the one carry that he got, like people are going to start saying this is only going to continue. That conversation is only going to continue to grow. We're going to keep saying McNeil. And you can only keep him off the field for the sake of his youth for so long. And for that to be the only reason is BS. Like it's just a classic Kirk thing to keep a guy off the field because of his youth, which to a degree, I will say I do understand. And if Iowa's fully healthy in the running back room, McNeil shouldn't play because you'll get Kamari, you'll get Jazz Patterson, you'll get Xavier Williams. Maybe TJ should be in like third down passing situations. But when you're hurt like this, Brevin Dahl's also out. Go to the young guy.
I would also point, even if you're in third down passing mode, like Moulton might be that guy because Moulton's shown that he has reliable hands and he makes good wheel routes. I mean, like there's certain things, again, that goes back. He is the all-around running back one.
Yep.
And I like the idea of Xavier Williams and Jazz Patterson being that two. Rotate based on who has the hot hand, assuming they're all healthy, right? I'm going based off that. I would still like to see, again, I know we're focusing on the offense, but the thing I want to sum up the night with, Elliot, is this is kind of my takeaway from this game. Again, Rutgers is not an elite team. They are still a better football team than they've been, and you need to give them credit for that. There's a very clear respect that Kirk and Greg Schiano have for one another, and I think that there needs to be some merit to that. But it's this. Iowa won the game in a non-Kirk Ferentz way, in my opinion. They relied on the offense to get it done, and for the first time since with all due respect to Nate Stanley was a different kind of quarterback than Mark Gronowski. So it's tough for me to kind of compare the two, right? But Iowa has a dynamic playmaker at quarterback that can go out and win you a football game and can bounce back from bad plays. And we haven't even mentioned this yet. Mark Gronowski is now the winningest quarterback in college football history across any level. And what have we always said? Winning translates. And Elliot, he might get 6 or 7 more wins this year. That's going to be a record that is never touched.
Unless we have more COVID eligibility come out of the woodwork.
Unless they change it to 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe true. A D2 or an FCS quarterback break it. But like when you look at the winning, again, I know he didn't do it all at Iowa. That's obvious. But this is another thing. When you look at this and when you look at the record books, an Iowa quarterback is the winningest quarterback in college football history. And you know they're going to take credit for that, and they should. But again, you got to give South Dakota State a bunch of credit too. Yes, Jackson.
Thank you.
Yes, Jackson.
Okay, calling me out. All right. Okay, yes. I'll eat my words with a caveat.
Fair.
He was really good in the first half. He is the benefactor of some pretty damn good receiver play. Rocco Becht is Rocco Becht is a better quarterback, a much better quarterback.
Yes, and no question.
Callie McManus got pressured, and things. There you go.
Yep,
and started to struggle.
I was going to say that.
And once Iowa's defense made their second half adjustments, it's like he could not figure it out. 21 points in the first half, that score in the second half. But he was good in the first half, not in the second half. I'll say that.
I thought his ball placement was tremendous. I thought once Iowa finally got pressure, he crumbled. But like those deep passes, man, he was putting them right on the freaking money. Like he did not look like the Minnesota version of himself. And albeit he had some great weapons around him tonight at Rutgers, and they were making some big plays. But Callie McManus put him in a position for them to make plays. And I give him a lot of credit for being better than that. So in short, Elliot, I still have my concerns. The secondary and the linebacker play still concern me. I feel like our preseason prediction of where this team would be at was fairly accurate.
Yep.
I think we overestimated a couple of things, probably underestimated a few others. But now it comes down to this. And we're going to spend all week previewing this at HawkeyeInsider.com, of course. What kind of Iowa team is this going to be? If they go back to Kinnick and they beat Indiana, now you're talking about a really good 8-4, 9-3 type season.
Yeah.
They go 3-2. I mean, if they end up 3-2, it's not the end of the world. But I'll tell you, man, they better go out there and beat Wisconsin. They cannot come back to Kinnick for that next week at 3-3. I know I'm looking down the road here, but the difference in opinion of this Iowa football team, it's very similar to this week in some regards. The difference in opinion between a 3-2 Iowa team and a 4-1 team with a Big Ten road win on the East Coast and beating what I think is going to be a ranked Indiana team, and with a 3-point loss to an undefeated Iowa State team, world of difference in opinion.
Yes, hard agree. And of course, quite a visitor list coming up on Saturday too, with an elite 2027 quarterback in attendance. We shared that a little while ago at Hawkeye Insider. Subscribers know all about that. And this play of Mark Gronowski, he keeps that up. If he plays something like that, if he plays at a high level and makes some really nice throws, and Iowa wins that game, and they have a 2027 elite prospect in the building, you're starting talking about it a little bit differently. You're starting talking about recruiting a little bit differently, and we already are under Tim Lester. They're getting quarterbacks on campus that they never would have otherwise. But this starts to become a different conversation. Again, we'll have all of that at HawkeyeInsider.com throughout the week. Way more intel coming. Monday morning quarterback with my rewatch coming. This season, you start to feel a little bit better. A lot more to happen. A lot more to take place. A lot more good teams to come to Kinnick. But things are interesting now. Things are a little bit more interesting now.
I think, and I'll wrap it up with this, and I'll let you. Is that your final thought, or do you have something else you want to add in real quick? I think my final thought is this. Mark Gronowski's trajectory and improvement week by week cannot be understated. They've continued to lose weapons, and he has produced and gotten better. Like, the amount of grit and moxie that dude has, like, I just think there's a completely the offense just looks different with like this style of quarterback. And it really is night and day. It's that simple. I think there's a lot more you can do with Mark, but I also think this, and this is not a dig at anybody at all, you're going to have a hard time for me to sell me that somebody else wants to win more than Mark Gronowski. Heart, toughness, big plays, shaking off bad plays. and the amount of pressure on that dude. Again, you're paying him money, and we talked about this all week, right? And including our pregame Swarmcast. Like, they brought him in to win these type of games. They brought him in. They brought him in for the fourth quarter that he had, right? He missed the touchdown throw, gets in there, has a couple of big plays right when Iowa needs it. Like, that's why you bring him in. You have to give him credit. And I think right now, with the games coming up, you have a quarterback whose ceiling will allow you to compete in those big games. Now, again, he has to live up to that, and he has to continue to live up to it. But you know he can do it because he's done it in his career. And now it's going to be up to Tim Lester and the other position groups to continue to elevate themselves to be able to give him good weapons for him to continue to make big plays. Again, he has to maintain the improvement and the trajectory he's on. And I think you can at least hang your hat on that.
I guess one last final point. Everything you just said, Kinnick's going to be rocking on Saturday. That's going to be a fun game.
You going to go with that one, Elliot?
I think so. Yes, of course. Yes, I will be there, yes.
Yeah, somebody said, surprise we didn't see slow mesh. I am too. I thought they were going to break it out. I think we'll see it against Indiana, and I think they should get it against Indiana. Tight end wise, I think Vonneman is still rusty. I see the upside with him, though, and I think his level of improvement from this year to next year is going to be very evident. He's going to be a weapon, I think, next year. I think you can see the tools there. Again, he's got to be a little bit better, more consistently, but like Elliott, it's to a point where who else right now do you play over him? Because even Ortworth, I still think struggles at times in run blocking. I think you got to keep Vonneman.
Yeah, you got to roll with Vonneman.
Another good point too.
Yeah, because they don't have Noodle Arm back there anymore. Mr. Noodle Arm, no laces.
God. I like the tight end screenplay. The thing is, the tight end screenplay, you're so ticked about it if it doesn't work, and if it does, you're like, great play call. I see why
they ran it. They ran it entirely too frequently under Brian.
Yes.
So now that they've gone away from it, it's like it's much more. Janglybit said it, not us. That's for folks on YouTube. Just watch on YouTube; you'll figure it out. But yes, I'm done. I'm good. I'm good to go to next week. I'm ready to move on to. We're on to Indiana.
I was going to say 48 minutes in this. By the way, yes. Appreciate everybody staying up late post game to tune into this. We're going to try to do more YouTube lives and everything moving forward. And I kind of like the interaction and some of the stuff. We're going to continue to improve it. So again, go to HawkeyeInsider.com. We're storing 30% off. We're going to have a bunch of stuff up tomorrow and throughout the weekend. Elliot's going to have his Monday morning quarterback, and then massive game next week, man. I mean, with Indiana, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have 3 people at Kinnick, between you, me, and Sean. Again, HawkeyeInsider.com. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to like the video, subscribe on our YouTube, subscribe to HawkeyeInsider.com. Follow Elliot on Twitter. I mean, I guess follow me on Twitter, too. I might get it back one day. You know what's disgusting? I'll end it with this, Elliot. I am so scarred by how much I've been on, like when I'm on my phone, how often I pulled up Twitter without even thinking about it, and it's second nature. It's so scary. It's been eye-opening. I don't know. It's like been 40 hours, and I've probably done it at least 80 times. I'm not even kidding. No, really. Yeah. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to have a lot more at HawkeyeInsider.com, and we will see you soon. Thanks again.